The Whites have been linked with a hell of a lot of wingers already this transfer window, effectively because we know that we're going to be losing some wide options. Crescencio Somerville, probably going out. Willie Nonto, probably going out. Jaden Anthony, already returned. But thankfully, this means that there will be signings coming in the other way, and thankfully, Leeds United have been linked with a lot of wingers recently, including one today that I'm very, very excited about. But who are the targets? I've got 3 in this video that I'm going to run through, but first, subscribe. Cheers. Just going to, yeah, it's always nice to ask, isn't it? Anyway, diving into it. Who exactly are the links? Very, very, very good question, and it sort of depends on what you're looking for in terms of a winger, and they're all very different from one another. I've just realised I hadn't moved the second webcam, so I might have been looking in the wrong place. Sorry about that. And I'm going to start with the least promising, who is still a very good player, but is someone that we were linked to in January, ended up not getting that sort of done, and now he's been released by his club. Mateusz Musialowski, who was a Liverpool youth winger from Poland, except he's not anymore because he left for free. He was sort of one of those players that is renowned as being their nation's Messi. He had got like discussions of the Polish Messi. He scored something like 133 goals in 80 youth appearances, and everyone was saying this guy's insane. Liverpool paid something like a 6-figure sum for him to come. Didn't end up kicking on quite as well as they'd hoped, although he was sort of in that top echelon of under-21s, the same sort of area as we would see a Bate or a Gelhardt, someone that's not breaking into the squad, but not quite going out on loan. We were linked very heavily with him in the winter, because at the time it was like 6 months left on his contract. It kind of makes sense for Liverpool to sell him. Makes sense for us to look at a young winger just to sort of reinforce the under-21s. We ended up not doing that, so now it's a free transfer. He is looking to take the next big step in his career, and in my opinion, that will mean he's looking for a lot of minutes. I don't know whether we'll be able to provide that if we get either of the 2 targets that we're about to talk about, but he has also got offers from Poland, which is his homeland. His agent has said along the lines of, I'm going to try and encourage him not to go back to Poland because he needs to kick on and sort of develop. So it's likely to be a Belgium or someone in the Eredivisie or heading to Switzerland for Musialowski. I'm not entirely certain that he is the right person to replace a Somerville or a Nonto yet. I don't think he's quite at the level at the moment, but a very interesting option if we do end up looking at him. The next one is a more recognisable name and is a Premier League player. It's Bobby de Cordova-Reid, who was, again, a winger at Fulham. This time has been released for free. Which is weird, because I thought he was a fairly big name in that squad. I thought he was fairly influential. I thought he did quite a lot, but it turns out that that's not necessarily the case. He had 33 Premier League appearances last season, which is a hell of a lot, but something like 16, 17 of them were off the bench, and this could very much be age-related. The guy is 31 at the moment, which is getting on a bit. Be 32 at the end of next season, and at that point, if you're a newly promoted side from the Championship going into the Premier League, do you really want a 32-year-old winger as one of your starting options, especially if he's not really torn the Premier League apart before? If he's already proven that he's sort of okay in the Premier League, that's not really what you're after when it comes to trying to survive. Add on to that the fact that he's played his best stuff on the right-hand side of the pitch, which clashes with Dan James a little bit, considering that's where Dan James does his best stuff as well. And Dan James is our only 100% certain winger for next season. Whenever he played out on the left, he wasn't looking too fantastic, and towards the end of the season, he was basically just used as a substitute. Looking at it, not really a long-term prospect, but now we got to get into my favourite option. Let's get ready. Sorry about that. Needed to pull up a screen share, and for some reason everything broke. So let's just go again from here. My favourite option is Silas Katompa Mvumpa. Silas, sorry, not Silas. My mouth is all over the place right now. He's better simply known as Silas, so you don't need to remember all 3 names, all 8 syllables. Or is more commonly known as a YouTuber screaming the name Silas, because he gained a little bit of a cult following in one of the previous versions of FIFA. He is a 25-year-old winger from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I will discuss his playing style after I take a quick look at his relatively unhappy and tragic-ish past. which is primarily the fault of an agent. So I'm going to read this off the Wikipedia just so I'm not like slandering or libeling anyone or anything. On the 8th of June 2021, VfB Stuttgart released a statement that revealed Silas's real name is actually Silas Katompa Mvumpa and not Silas Wamangatuka Fundu, as previously thought. Stuttgart believed that Silas's agent had altered his identity to increase his dependence on the agent. Basically, human trafficking, but footballer. He was also revealed to be 1 year older, so the agent was able to sell him for a little bit more cash and get a little bit more in terms of kickbacks from it, with his actual birth year being 1998. He stated that a new agent and club had helped him to gain the confidence to reveal these details after having had them held against him as a threat by his previous agent. Stuttgart did not expect any sanctions against the club and the player, but the player was fined €30,000 and banned for 3 months by the German Football Association. That was 3 years ago. So we won't have to worry about any bans or anything. Everything is out in the open. And in terms of playstyle, he is an incredibly pacey winger. Really fast and also very, very, very tricky with his feet. I've got up a little bit of a highlight here from, I think, the last match of Stuttgart season. So this is the level that he's still at. And don't know if that's what I'm doing, so it doesn't get me copyright claimed. So let's see. Right. What this clip hasn't picked up on is the fact that down here he has also dribbled through these two players. So I'm going to go back a teensy tiny bit to the very start of this highlight. Yeah, he's beaten these two players, played it to this guy, receives the ball, beats one man, shrugs off number two, scores a cracker. Very tricky with his feet, very fast. And also, as you've just seen, he's another option through the middle, as well as playing out on the wing, which is something that we really need. We need people who are reliable goal scorers, are fairly consistent, and that you can basically rely on. And in my opinion, he would be an absolutely insane get at this level. So the fact that we're being linked to him by a lot of different places is very, very promising to me. Now, we're about to bump into what I think the issue is. The other two players were potential free transfers. Silas isn't. Previously, when discussions were happening, he was expected to have a transfer fee of something like £8 million. Now that seems to have risen to something like £12.5 million, because if I remember correctly, I'm very quickly going to have to check the Bundesliga table. There we go. Stuttgart finished second in the Bundesliga last season, which means that they are now a Champions League club. But they're also trying to get rid of this guy, which is really confusing. And I'm not sure whether he'd make the jump down to the Championship, but there is a potential argument that this is a big test of the Red Bull link, and specifically the Red Bull cash. If we've got the money to attract a player to the Championship to play for us in the second division of English football and just hopefully tear the thing up, because ideally Stuttgart need to sell now, because he's only got 2 years left on his contract. I don't know if he'll be renewing, but we're still being linked heavily. And if we've got the money to draw him in, or if we've got the power of that brand to draw him in, because he's personally experienced sort of the technical proficiency of a Leipzig and a Salzburg side from time to time, that could be tempting to him. So I think this is the first big test of Red Bull to see if we can get something across the line with them on board and see if they've helped to push that forwards. I really hope we can get Silas done. It will be a very, very big reach for a Championship club to try and get that to happen. But I think the fact that there are so many links tells me that there's at least some shot of it. And I've not seen many other clubs linked to him, which is very weird. Anyway, enough rambling. Let me know what you think down below about our options for wingers, if we've been linked to anyone that I've completely forgotten, and especially if there's any videos you'd like to see at some point soon. That'd be really good, because I'll be honest with you, when I'm making stuff like this, I don't know exactly what you guys want, and I want to make stuff that people enjoy watching and all that sort of stuff. Like yesterday's video was meant to be a sort of meta critique on how easily people jump to conclusions on transfers, and I got a reply calling it clickbait, and it's like, that's the point. But yeah, either way, let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you think about our winger options. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always massively appreciated. You can even become a channel member. All that money is still going to Prostate Cancer UK. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. I just want to buy Silas. He's making me like nostalgic for a game of FIFA that I only half played. Madness. Madness.